All right, everybody, this is the moment y'all been waiting for. Paternity University group coaching call, Wednesday, March 1st. So we have a very, very, very special guest on tonight. My mother, Jewel Scott, owner of Nationwide DNA Services. She is the one who basically directly and indirectly taught me about this business. If it weren't for her, I literally never would have known about this, and y'all probably would have never came. Maybe y'all would have came across this one day. Maybe not. Maybe I don't know. But my mom, Jewel, is gonna just talk about her experience starting her business, just the 22 years, of experience, and then any disease testing. If y'all have any questions, feel free. I'll kind of still moderate, but if y'all got any questions, feel free to ask them. Do not be shy, because she's taking her time out, to talk to us. Okay. So, Mom, floor is yours.
The reason why he's telling you not to be shy, because of course I'm not shy at all. So, back when my daughter was young, I started the DNA testing basically because there was a need for dads in the local area of Atlanta, Georgia, in DeKalb County, what we call. And I would sit in the rooms, on all these rooms, and I would hear the dads in court, and they would just sign them up for child support, signing them up, signing them up. And I was more so, why are you just putting yourself on child support? Did you have a test? And they were asking for a test and they were declining them. And they had a reason to decline them. So I started a petition and had over 100 plus dads sign a petition. And then I was going to just really blow the whistle on the state. And I did. I blew the whistle on the state. And the state was like, well, why don't you just, instead of you just blowing the whistle on us, why don't you just help out and do the testing yourself? Here's a lab. You can contact them. I guess they thought I wouldn't, but I did. So I contacted the lab, and then that's what my company was born at that time, Right Choice Paternity. I was on the government end, okay? So it goes back to had to be like 1987. So now I'm taking you back to 1987. Because in 1987, we get a knock on the door. I'm visiting my parents' house. We get a knock on the door. And it's a guy in a baseball outfit, and my brother played baseball, And so I open the door, and he's like, Michael Scott. And I said, he's not here. He just served. He serves my brother. So when he serves my brother, we all clapping for my brother's girlfriend at the time, who was visiting. We're like, oh, girl, about time. My brother, he should be helping you out with little Mikey, X, Y, and Z. That's my nephew. Short of the story. My brother said, it's not for Mikey, it's for a baby that I didn't tell anybody about. We like, what? So we didn't know that my brother had an outside baby. Fast forward, my brother's paying $1,000 a month. This is California, okay? So he's paying $1,000 a month. Then he's paying $1,200 a month. When the nephew was 15 years old. Now, from the beginning, I did look at the little boy, I said, I don't know, Michael, it's just something about his ears. It's just something about not looking right. So 15 years later, there was a DNA test done, not by my brother. There was a DNA test done on a young man that was incarcerated. Now, my brother was now LAPD. He was a police officer. So the girl's mom called my brother and said, it's not your child. I mean, we only saw him once a year because she wouldn't let us see him. So that was the first look back in 1987 of a child that wasn't my brother's child. And we didn't find out till 15 years after that. Then it happened to my brother-in-law, but not by my sister. It was his wife. They're military, they're Air Force. And he was raising his daughter. And she wanted him to have a test. He did the test, but he told her it wouldn't change anything because he was bonded with her. That was case number 2. He wasn't the father. And so they ended up getting a divorce because my sister didn't understand that the bond that he had with his daughter was so much stronger than what that DNA did after he raised her. And they were military, remember that. So then case number 3 was my cousin. Now I'm living in Atlanta. So now it's my cousin. And my cousin had a daughter. Now, when she came out, everybody was like, no way. Have a DNA test. Cut it. No. And he wouldn't do the test. So he goes off to jail because he's on the other side of the tracks of this family. And his parents are well-to-do. His father was a chief of probation in 2 counties, Fulton and DeKalb County. But he goes off to jail. So they're raising this grandbaby with this crazy baby mom. He gets out, gets another girlfriend. She's like, we gonna do a DNA test. We like, what? Our cousin is 5. We have raised her from the ground up. She has like 3 houses. And guess what? Wasn't his child. But we sort of kind of knew. So then that just split the whole family, just split everything up. She's angry. Everybody's angry. All these kids grow up angry. And so that leads me to talk about today. Maury is not funny. It's not even a joke when we used to watch Maury and really think that was entertainment, because it's really not entertainment, because any given time you could turn on your TV and see how a father has killed the mother of his child, hurt the child, killed her while she's pregnant, because guess what? They love to pop out, this baby ain't yours. They love to mouth it off. If I go to start telling you guys what we're hearing in the hospitals from the hospital staffs, what they do in the hospitals. So we want to cut to the chase. Let's go ahead and get these babies done at the hospital. So how could I do that? I started going to the hospitals as a mobile agent early on. I started getting on radio stations back then. That's when radio stations really cared. You know, you didn't have to be a celebrity. I would get invited to the radio stations. I would bring attorneys, and I would bring like OBGYNs to break it down. Now those attorneys, fast forward 20-something years, they're all judges now. Who do you think they still know? Me. So now they can still refer. So in the beginning, I was cold calling attorneys. I was doing everything I can to get my business out there. Okay. So now we're at, how do we do it? It's not just about a baby. It's not just always about a baby, but if you can nip it in the bud, if you can get your DNA testing done while they're newborns, 1 day, 2 days old, you now have sort of kind of helped out a situation. And then at one point, I will talk about what I do also after that, because it's deeper than that. So when you hear people talking about, oh, you know, they do the DNA test and they just trifling, these women are hoish, or these women should know. I said, well, most of my clients are married. Let's not talk about the married clients, because it's the majority of women that are married, or the men are married. Somebody's married. Okay. So yeah, so we go into the hospitals. Now let's talk about how we, during COVID, how we start getting all these test requests from people my age. I'll be 56. So when you have people at my age asking for DNA testing because they did 23andMe, and now they found out that this person might be their dad, you're the DNA person that actually connects the final dot. It's like dot to dot, and you actually connect it. So as you see, DNA, it goes back, because people were raised by men that weren't their fathers, and they sort of kind of felt it. Always that auntie in their ear telling them that ain't your daddy, this is your daddy. And I'm talking about of every race. I have a lot of different races of people that use my company, and I see it all. Military, not married, married, going through a divorce, battling over kids. While you pregnant, of course, the prenatal. When you're dead, we can get your DNA while you're dead. And that's what I want to also touch bases on when you guys have questions to ask. I really want to touch bases on the deceased, because the deceased testing will get you paid. That's the real money.
I've mentioned that. I've mentioned that to y'all before. Like I said, I haven't done one. You can talk about exactly how that goes down in a few. But I haven't done one, and somebody has asked me to do one. Hey, can you come take the samples from the body? And I was like, ooh, you know, I wasn't really feeling that. But my mom always told me it ain't the dead ones to fear, it's the alive ones. So So Mom, what just a couple of questions just to kind of, just to ask you. It's almost like a podcast, but also like a little closed session that we're doing. And I've always loved talking about this stuff. Um, what were some of the biggest differences from when you first started, like how you said you were cold calling attorneys, going on radio stations, yellow pages, and then the new age, what were some of the biggest changes that you saw in marketing, making relationships, and doing the actual testing from when you first started to now?
Okay, so when I first started, I didn't have an office. So I was going to the newborns. Then the state said, hey, we would like to hire you to collect our samples. They weren't really paying me much. I mean, I did a contract with the state. Then the state was like, oops, we're broke. We can't pay you. I think they owed me like 30, 40,000. So I held their money as ransom. I'm just letting y'all know that. Like I got subpoenaed in court, and I was like, pay me my money, and then I'll release these tests. They wrote the check right there on the spot. The judge made them write. All right. So what has changed is there's still a lot of red tape. You have to be careful even how you market, because even your lab, sometimes you have to be careful. You want to say, oh, your lab is your buddy. Your lab is not always your buddy. Listen, when the yellow pages was out and when people was like coming at me in different counties where I'm at, Rockdale County, Newton County, my lab didn't even know this county existed. Remember, they're in Ohio. All of a sudden, that when Google came out, I start seeing my lab at the top of the list. Well, how you get there? Because you surely didn't know about my little. So what they did was they would take their agents and they would market their agent's area. That's what they actually do. They market your area so that they could make the money before you. So you have to be careful as how you market. So what's changed now is back in the day, they were a little bit more private about it. They were a little more reserved about it. I started doing my DNA testing in a doctor's office. I always went to the hospitals. I learned a lot. I have had teddy bears thrown at me, y'all. I have had babies, mamas cussing me out. I have dudes cussing me out. I have made mistakes. I have made errors. But all in all, that is what business is about. I have always remained confidential in what I do. But now it's to the point where the Gen Z generation came about, and the Gen Z generation do not give a damn, okay? You can swab them in front of a Kroger store. You can swab them in front of an Albertson. They do not care. You can swab them in front of a football game. They don't care because they just want to know if the baby is theirs. So it took for my kids to say, hey, Ma, you really have to, don't worry about a landline phone. When I had a landline, start worrying about all that. Do things from your cell phone, catch up, do things of that nature. So things have totally changed. Now, in the beginning, yes, I was doing 40, 50 cases a month. Then 2008 came. We know what happened with that, right? Skirt. If daddies ain't getting paid, who's gonna pay me now? The state was broke. I had already left the state, but the state was broke. Everybody's broke in 2008. So for 2008 to 2016, I had to live off of my savings. Literally live off of my savings, that what I made from the DNA. Okay. Then I bounced back and I start bouncing back. So DNA has so many angles that nobody really thinks about. I think it's time for people to really start putting it in a perspective, like, how can I really make money? Don't just make your lab money. Because at the end of the day, when you ask that lab, hey, you know what? Let me see how much y'all made off of me and what I made. And now what I got to pay Uncle Sam. Come on now. Look at what you're paying these labs. Okay?
Well,
because
I don't want to interrupt you. How much did you pay DDC last year?
38,000.
38,000?
38,000.
You know, lab fees. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
lab fees.
Yeah. Same
Then
here.
I still have to pay my taxes. We'll just say that we just added a couple more things that we ain't gonna talk about it. I ain't gonna do nothing, incriminate myself.
Same. 30, we're the exact same. I paid DDC 30,000 and RavGen 20,000. So I paid $50,000 in lab fees last year. And
but how many cases did you do?
I did Geez, 115 or something like that. I think you did
I did
180.
I did 179 cases.
There we go. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I believe, I don't, that's what they said. I paid them. I added up dime by dime, dime by dime. So then I start looking at how can I make more? Well, of course, everything's gone up. If your eggs have gone up, your DNA has to go up. Okay. So if your eggs have gone up, your DNA prices have to go up. So the main thing that I used to do back then is go and look at everybody else's prices that are around me in your area, your 50-mile area. People are going to call. People want to hear you answer that phone or hear somebody answer the phone. The main reason why they choose my company is because I got a Google rating of 40 likes, 40 stars. My goal is to be at 100 plus by the end of the year. That's my goal. So what do I do now? After each test that I do, I hit them up with the link. Hey, go rate me on Google. I call them. Hey, can you rate me on Google? And they do. Okay. So I would like to answer some questions now, Roy, and then I would like to talk about these cases that made me money.
Yeah, let's go for it. Hey, I'm mute y'all. Whatever questions y'all got, feel free, ask them. This is the wizard right here. Go ahead, Rochelle.
Okay, did you initially, how did you approach, I guess it's funeral homes, morgue or whatever with a letter? You just showed up? How did that process start?
Okay, so funeral homes, if you look at them, they ran by great granddaddies. And they stuck in their old ways, right? Well, guess who's running them now? Their great grandchildren. And they're young.
Yeah.
Right? You still got some old heads up in there, but they're younger now. They're in their 30s and 40s. They're young. So now you can go into a funeral home and say, hey, how many of your tests do you do that request a DNA test because the baby mama is pregnant at the time? Or how many people do you, well, they did say that so-and-so was pregnant. I said, we could get the samples from the casket. And that's one way to get the casket. That's one way to get the test, right? Would I prefer to do it that way? Yeah, I think. I'm not going to charge $1,200 to get it from a blood spot card and $1,200 to get it from the casket. If I get it from the casket, I'm going to charge another $1,600. Will they pay for it? Yeah, they'll pay for it. Don't just always go to your neighborhood. You start in your neighborhood, but you venture out to the people where the money is. See, because certain people, they got to bury them within 1 or 2 days. Okay. And these women are pregnant at the time. They're not married. So in many states, I don't know how your state is or what state you're in. What state are you in?
Florida.
Okay. So Florida is one of the states where all the dads, like I had a case today in Florida. I don't know how he found me. He found me, he's in Florida. But the baby mama's here. And so he took care of everything, but it's a court order through the Georgia courts. That's what it is. But he found me. Okay. Hey, excuse me, my dog. Sorry. So, yes. So you can get DNA testing from the funeral homes, letting them know that you exist. And I think that marketing funeral homes, like when people be looking up funeral homes, or people already know where they're going to bury people most of the time, right? Because when a person dies, they sort of kind of know already it's a family funeral home. But I think if the DNA start falling under that, if you start doing Google ads, that would be great. But how do I really get it? Your Bureau of Investigation, your medical examiner, okay? Your county medical examiner's office and the Bureau of Investigation. Those are the ones that will have it. So this is what happened. When you get a call of someone, you sort of kind of have to really talk to your client. So your client calls in and goes, hi, I'm going to tell you about the last 3 I got, and this is true story. Hi, Miss Scott. My baby daddy died. He overdosed, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm sorry. My condolences. Oh, no problems. No worries. Anyway, I need to get I need to do a grandparentage. So when you hear people asking for grandparentage, 9 out of 10, he died.
Mm.
And they're thinking the only way they can get it is as a grandparentage. Well, I've only done 2 grandparentages in 28 years that I've done on a legal, only because I made them go get me a court order on it, because it's not a legal test. Do y'all know why grandparentage is not a legal test? Can somebody tell me? Tell me why grandparentage testing is not legal. Does anybody know why? Take a guess.
Okay, let me try.
Is there nothing?
Because and that doesn't necessarily grandparents, but did you establish the paternity for that person? I mean, is that really their grandparents?
Okay, so let's just say, okay, I'm gonna go on my last case, all right? And these are people calling. These are my last 3 cases. I did them all in the month of February. So the son gets killed in an accident. He's 22 years old. The young lady calls me, hello, Miss Scott. I already had the baby, but while I was pregnant, he got killed. So we're gonna go ahead and do the grandparentage, mostly so they can get that Social Security benefits check, right? I said, we know Social Security is not gonna take that. Now I'm gonna tell you what Social Security tells them. Sure, we'll take a grandparentage. No, they won't. They won't. Because when that report comes back, number one, it comes back, there's not a notary on the bottom. There's no COC that was required. And even if I did do a COC on it, which I can, okay? I technically can make a decision for my company if I'm gonna do that. I won't do a COC unless they got a court order. And there's a reason for that. When that report comes back, guess what? It doesn't have on the bottom. It says the grandparent is related by 90, like a relationship of like 90%. It doesn't say which son. So if she has 3 sons, which son is the daddy? Y'all got that?
That makes sense.
Okay, so that's why I don't like grandparents testing. So when my clients call me, I get deep into it. Well, what happened? Oh, well, he died in a car accident. Okay, well, okay, so who's the next of kin? These younger generation, they really don't get who the next of kin is. So you got to answer it for them. Who's the next of kin? You do ask them that, but you really just ask to tell them. The next of kin, let me start. Wife. Well, his mama, wife. Well, his wife. If you got a wife, it's his wife. Well, they didn't live together, wife. Well, they separated, wife. Wife. He got a wife, it's his wife. If she says no, I'm gonna show you how to override that wife and take it into the court, because I show them how to do it. So show you how to do. Now I charge for that. You can charge for that. That's another undercut. Anyway, so you charge for that. But if the wife is the next of kin, it goes by the wife. If he had a mom, it goes by his mom. If he has older children, based on their age, the children are the next of kin. If those children are older, in the state of Georgia, I think the children could be, I think they could be 15 or 16 and consent. Okay, so it's wife, if there's no wife, his mama, if there's no children that are consensual age to consent. If nobody consents, you go straight and you skip it all and you show them how to go into the court and request a paternity test on the deceased. Now, how do we get it? We've already done the homework. We know how to go into the medical examiner and find out where those DNA samples are. So first you start with the Bureau investigation. So you start with the Bureau investigation of your state. That's where they tell you where it is. They're not going to tell you. You have to have them show them how to open up a case. Once they open up that case, they'll say, oh, we don't have it. This coroner's office or this medical examiner's office in this county has his samples, because either he died of something suspicious, car accident, a death at 30. Come on, you die at 30, they're going to investigate it, right? You die from a fall, anything that's being investigated, they're going to do some additional stuff. So now you get what they call a blood spot card. 9 out of 10 times, if you're doing with the GBI, they handle it. You just take the paperwork to them or you mail it to them, but you take it to them. I take it. If the Bureau of Investigation is not doing it, then I got to take it to the medical examiner and they give it to me. What do I charge? For $100. What does the lab make? $128. So I make a good $1,000+ right?
Yes.
And then I had 3 cases back to back. So one, I'm gonna go over them quickly. He died. He was 22. She was pregnant. There was nobody that reviewed how he died in that car accident, which I thought was crazy. But the baby mama called me and I said, let me speak to his mom, because his mom was the next of kin. We went through, I made sure there was no samples anywhere, taught her how to do it. I went and did the grandparentage only then and got an order that the court will accept it so that this baby mama can reap off this young. It wasn't really about just Social Security because he was only 22, but the parents were well-to-do. They were decent. They had good money and they would help this young lady raise her kids. Okay, well, this one baby. And now they have a piece of their son. So I went to their home and I actually did that test. What did I charge? $1,400 because I charged $200 for mobile. What did the lab charge me? $128. She's one of my greatest clients. And she said, oh, she cried tears. Now I'm gonna go to the one that there's 2 that's back to back that gave me the biggest headache in my life. I think in my 22 years, I think if I add the top 5, these would be the worst cases I ever had in my career of doing DNA testing. One of the worst. And they were always deceased cases. So when you do deceased cases, know that in these women's mind, they try to be chummy and your buddy, but when that test report comes back, it is what it is. When I tell you they go crazy, because these cases are worth millions. They ain't worth no little money, they worth millions. The first one was a cop. He wasn't just any cop, he was top cop. He's patrolling. He's trying to figure out why this traffic is so crazy and hectic, and a 16-year-old hits him, he doesn't even see it. Flies 500 feet in the air. I get a call from a councilman, okay? See, it's always good to do certain tests. I did a call from a councilman's baby mama that wasn't the baby mama, but I was still good to her because he was a councilman. And we did that test and I went to her house and I said, hey girl, I'm chumming with her. He wasn't a daddy. And then I did, I'm saying you always be good. She remembered me. She's the one that really called me. Jewel, you did my test. Girl, 8 years ago, girl, he wasn't a daddy. You remember me? I said, I do. Because she's high up, right? She said, well, my baby daddy got killed. What? She said, yes, girl, he got killed. Oh my God. And he had a girl that was pregnant. The family don't even know she existed. I knew she existed because, I have a son. I have a son from him. But I didn't know she was pregnant. So that's not my job to tell his family that you're pregnant. They're trying to deal with his death. So they're coming from everywhere. Miami, Florida, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. These sisters and mothers are coming from everywhere about him. He's 56 years old. She was only 28. Okay. So how to say, come on in the room. Come on in here. Let me tell you what happened. Come on, let's tell you what happened. So this is what happened. So I'm like, oh, wow. They said, yeah. So next thing I know, I didn't hear from them. So they were saying, can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm gonna do not disturb. So they were saying, hey, Miss Scott, he was killed. The funeral's going on. The baby mama's pregnant. She's about to give birth. But nobody knew this baby existed. I'm shocked. She helped take care of my son when he was younger. But we're about to head off to Paris. We ain't got time for this. Now I gotta go to this funeral because he was a great dad to my son. Okay. Funerals happen. I get a call from one of my favorite hospitals. Hey girl, hey, Miss Ursula. I'll say her name, Ursula. Hey. Always getting good with the hospital's birth certificate office.
Birth certificate office.
Listen, birth certificate office. I bake, if Bro didn't tell you that. I take them cupcakes. I take cupcakes to the mommy and baby floor. Hey, how y'all doing? Your face is important. So if they know you in the hospital, they got to know you out the hospital. They got to know you in the Kroger, in the Albertson. They got to know you up the street, down the street. Always know your face, no matter how you wear your hair or your crown. These people got to know you. These nurses jump from hospital to hospital. One thing they got to know is know the DNA person. So I know most of these nurses for 20-something years. They just go to hospital. This particular lady called me and said, hey, Miss Jewel, we got a lady right here, girl. She's in the hospital and she's about to give birth. And poor lady, you know, I got a question. I said, what is it, Ursula? She said, well, her baby daddy died. Well, she think he's the baby daddy. But then there's another guy. But then we know how expensive it is for her to do the one that's dead. So we told her to do the one that's not dead. Oh. When did he die? She said about a week ago. Henry County? Yeah. Okay. Lip seal. So you still can't talk. You have to still be confidential. You don't run your mouth. Okay, cool. So she has the baby. A month later, she's coming for it all. Because the way he was hit, it was $1 million suit that's just about to get settled. Families coming in from everywhere, right? Now I'm hired by a high-profile attorney. They're one of the most high-profile attorneys in the state of Georgia. They're like, okay, Ms. Scott, we're gonna do a grandparentage. Attorneys will try to tell you how to do your work. Never let attorneys tell you how to do your DNA testing. You're the queen, you're the king. They cannot tell you how to do it. You do not let them control you. You say, no, we're not gonna do a grandparentage. That is not gonna solve anything. Plus his mother lives in New York and we know how New York operates. So we're not gonna touch New York, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna get his DNA from, we could have got it from the casket, but now that he's buried, we're gonna get it from the GBI. We're gonna find out who had it. GBI didn't have it. We found out the cab had it. The attorney asked, how much is it? I say $1,400 because I'm gonna go to this baby mama's house, I'm sure. Well, why would we pay you that? They want to dispute my price. So I tell this attorney, I don't dispute what you pay. You don't dispute what I do. I'm hired by the family, okay? So I go in there, I do the test. I go to the mom, you have a right to come into my office or you have the opportunity for me to come to you. You can come to me, there's the extra money, ching-ching. I go to her, I do the test. She's talking, she's a little nervous talking. When they start doing that nervous talking, we already know. Look at my baby, oh my God, sort of kind of like the Maury thing, you know. Look at my baby, oh my God, he knew I was pregnant before him, blase, wosie. She wasn't living in his house no more. This man had a beautiful home. She had left at 8 months of pregnancy. So now I connected the dot. You were the one that were pregnant at Henry Medical. He didn't get killed in Henry Medical. He got killed in the whole two counties over. But I am a dot connector. So there's no way that this has to be the same story. So we do the DNA test. It takes about 3-4 days to get it back. Boom, 0 probability. She disputes it.
Wow.
The family's jumping up and down like they won the lottery. Mind you, they are doctors, they are lawyers themselves, his sisters. They're so happy. She wants another DNA test. They called me up. This helper want another DNA test. I said, well, I won't do it. They said, well, we're not going to pay for it. So they don't know who paid for it. They called me back 8 weeks later. I didn't know it was done, to be honest. They said, girl, they did another test and he still wasn't a death. They said she would have gotten that $1 million suit for her child would have been for her child because the other son, it would have been for him too. He's older, he's 21. But that Social Security check is $8,000.
Wow.
A month plus that. So who's the baby daddy? Probably somebody with no debit, nothing, you know. So those are stories like that. Look, you help somebody. But 1,400, the lab only got $100-something.
And
Plus,
why, the question, Mom, why does the lab only charge you $127?
because DDC treats that just like a regular DNA test,
Exactly.
right? A regular legal DNA test. So whatever your regular legal DNA test is, it's the same price for deceased. DDC, whether you collect 4 samples, whether you get the samples from the coroner's office, from the casket, or whether you get the samples from the GBI or not GBI, from the Bureau of Investigation, or whether you get the samples from the or whether you get samples from the coroner, medical examiner. DDC charges the same price as a regular DNA. So I always say tap into that, because that was truly, I would love to be the agent, the deceased DNA agent. So the last 3 that I helped out, 2 are not thanking me because these baby mamas are in denial. 1 is jumping up in the air because she has a piece of her son. Okay.
Got it. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. So start tapping into, looking into how to go about, look into, people, unfortunately, people die every day. My day is not promised tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? My son, nobody's day is promised tomorrow. Okay. But people die every day.
Hey,
Okay.
Nicole asked, and she's asking the right question. I'm gonna ask also what paperwork is needed, because it's not just a regular chain of custody that's done.
Yes, it is.
Postmortem.
It's a regular chain of custody.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I
What
wanna
you do?
clarify.
3 types of papers. Okay.
There you
Great
go.
question.
Yep.
Yeah, 3 types. First, you have to get the approval of the next of kin.
Yep.
I do not play with that. I get baby mamas that try to control me, or how, I'm going to send them the paperwork. No, you're not. You have to totally take control. The next of kin, for example, say his mom, she signs the paperwork, or if it's the attorney, there's a post-mortem. It's a form called post-mortem.
Yep.
That post-mortem form is signed by the lab that has the sample. Okay. Then you have the next of kin. The next of kin is their approval. You got to get that filled out first. Then you get the post-mortem, you take it down there, for example, to the medical examiner's office. You take that down there when they're ready to give you the samples. They sign off, they give you the samples, you sign in, you're good. You go, you take it straight to the FedEx, you overnight it. I think if you get $1,200, $1,300, you owe it to the family, just go ahead and pay the extra $30 and overnight it. Or you can second. If it's on a Friday, just send it regular. But if it's on a Monday through Thursday, try and get it the next day. It's a blood spot card. It has the DNA on it. Okay. So yeah, and then the chain of custody, that test still has to be done with the mother and the child. I still swab mothers on that case, and I still swab babies. Why? So those mothers cannot come back and say, how do I know you had the right whatever? How do I know you had the right this? That's why I test mothers for those cases too.
What Nicole is asking, what specimens are you taking? Hair, nails, and can they already be embalmed if you're doing it in a morgue?
No, when you go to the morgue, you set your price. So, all right, there's 4 deceased cases. I'll tell you about this one in a second, why this one went all wrong. When you go to the morgue, this is what you're collecting. You need to take your own fingernail clippers. You need to go to the store and get your own fingernail clippers and your own tweezers, 99-cent store. You start with labeling your envelopes. You will have 4 envelopes, 1 through 4. The first one, you're going to do a regular buckle. It's going to be the worst thing that you can do because he's embalmed, but we can still get the DNA. You still swab like you would regularly swab, but it's going to be, I'm telling you, because sometimes their mouth, we tell them not to sew their mouths. Don't sew their mouths until we get there. You swab, same thing, you do a buckle swab on his mouth. The second thing that you collect, number 2 on your envelope, his ears. You swab his ears. You have to label that number 2 ears. Number 3, fingernails. You need 10 fingernails. You need to clip all 10 fingernails, put them in there. You need to label that the fingernails with his name and everything. Everything needs to be labeled. Number 4 and final, the hair. The hair is the easiest thing to come out because he's dead. So the hair follicles, it's from the hair follicles. Now, if his hair look like me and Royals, you won't have a good way to get the hair, so you can skip the hair. But you need at least 4 samples. If you don't have 4, 3 is enough. You send all 3. So what the lab does, they run all 3 of those samples, and they tell you which one they can get the DNA test off of. The DNA sample, I'm sorry, off of.
Okay.
Once they determine which one, they say, okay, this buckle is good. So they didn't need to use the other one. So now they only bill you 120 something, whatever lab fees you are, that's the only thing they're going to bill you. These are legal DNA testing. That way now the mom can reap the benefits such as Social Security lawsuits or anything of that nature. And plus his mom now has a grandchild that she's feel comfortable with.
There you go. Hope that answered your question, Nicole. Anybody else? Feel free. Felicia, Donna, anybody got any other questions or anything like that?
I do.
You okay? Are you able to speak, Felicia?
I am. I'm trying to think of the question. You when you were saying that you went to the morgue to collect the 4 items, it was something you said the very first thing you said, and then you said you swab in the mouth. It was the very first thing you said.
So the buckle.
Okay, buckle. Okay.
Yeah, you're just doing a regular buckle. It's very difficult to swap the mouth because a lot of times now you're in touch. Now let me say this. When you walk into that funeral home, have your cards. Because remember, it's a lot of old heads there. They want cards. Georgia Bureau of Investigation, each state has a Bureau of Investigation, one that takes all their cases. Ours is called GBI. Whatever state you're in, it's called Bureau of Investigation. You just put the state name in front of it. Okay.
Okay.
So in Florida, I guess it's called, I guess it would be called FBI.
The FBI in Florida, yeah.
That's in Florida, should be called, it might be called
FLBI.
FBI. They probably put another letter in there.
Yeah.
But normally that's where you start to find out who sort of kind of have it. And you guys could always take my number and information so I can sort of kind of take you through how to find it. There's no way these people can open up these cases with the Bureau of Investigation. I know how to navigate it through the system where I know what I'm looking for, because they can't do it by themselves. You sort of kind of have to help them open up a case so they can find out where those samples are. Okay. So yes, the buckle is the first thing you do. Like I said, 9 out of 10, he's embalmed. Okay. Now, my last test, I have not been in a funeral home in 2022. All my tests were done at the medical examiner's offices in 2022, which meant I didn't have to touch a dead person. I didn't have to.
Ma, you want to real quick, if you don't mind, the story that you told me that for me personally, I was like, I'm not doing no morgue stuff. The story of how you did a test in the morgue and the mortician was like, all right, I'm gonna go, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go do my thing. And I think it was one of your first tests.
It was my first test.
Your first deceased test, yeah. Tell that story if you don't mind.
Oh my God, okay. So this is when I didn't know how, okay. So this is when I didn't know how much I could have been paid, right? So DDC calls me up. Hey, dude, we need to do a DNA test for us. The collection is out Buckhead. Now, Buckhead is like Beverly Hills. Everybody knows how that is. It's rich, right? Like money. Okay, he hit his head. He jumped in the pool, hit his head, and he died in the swimming pool. And the baby mom was like 4 months pregnant. And they got to hurry up and bury him because, hey, they're Jewish. Oh my God. Okay. And I said, I don't know if I can do it. This is the first time. Like, seriously, I'm like freaking out. I'm crying. I'm in my corner, in my room. I'm snot booger. I'm talking to myself. I said, I can't. And then I thought, damn, she's pregnant. This girl is pregnant. I got to do it. I get in my car. I drive all the way to Buckhead. It's in this, it's like a cathedral. It's like sit on top of a hill. It's like crazy. I remember only charging them $300.
Mm.
Okay. I get up there and the mortician's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm fine. Okay, he's in there. I said, oh, okay. He's leading me the way. He goes, question, what do you do? What samples are you collecting? Because they normally don't collect all the samples. They really don't. And I said, well, I'm collecting X, Y, and Z. Aries, stop it. I'm collecting, I told him what I'm collecting. He goes, well, what if they don't have any hands? He's right. Because I've had a person that didn't have any hands no more from a car accident. He goes, well, what if they don't have any, face? Like, what? So he's a little weird. So then he goes, okay, I'm going to lead you to the body. He takes me to the cold refrigerator, like seriously. When I tell y'all, this man leaves me in that room with 8 bodies. And all I saw was feet with the tags on them. I literally had a meltdown. I literally cried. My nose was running because, you know, all the stuff they used to embalm. All I remember, I called DDC up. I said, I want 600. I want 600. Then I found out later that it's the same price. So I started charging. DDC charged them people $2,500 and gave me $600. So the reason why I say stick to the deceased, because when you start calling around and you got a cold play and pretending like you are a baby mama that don't know what you're talking about, you know what they're gonna talk you into? A grandparentage. You got one time, your window is so small to get that DNA from the dead. For that baby to benefit. If it's the Bureau of Investigation or if it's the coroner's office, guess what? They normally have it for a year or 2. So 2 years, these people are calling these other places and they're saying, oh, just get a brush that he used. Oh, just get a toothbrush that he used. Well, what you gonna do with that? That's not legal.
Based on this, your story is very intense, all down to skill level and emotion. Technically, are you going to offer like a coaching, whatever, a paid whatever? I want to sign up. I don't know if you do it, but if you don't,
me too. Yeah,
You don't mind, there's your opportunity right there. There you go.
Let me tell y'all something.
Yeah.
When I tell you about teddy bears being thrown at me, you know what? That baby, that lady that threw the teddy bear.
They want to pay you for your. They want to pay
No,
you.
y'all want to pay me.
They want.
No, yes, it is. Yes, like please.
Yeah, they want one-on-one coaching from me, and they want to pay you X amount.
Let me get your name again. You're in Florida.
Yes, my name is Rochelle.
What part of Florida, Rochelle?
I'm outside of Orlando.
I'm in Orlando also.
Okay, y'all where the money is.
Yes.
Ooh. Y'all where the money.
Yes.
Tell y'all where you at the money is.
Oh,
Celebrities test too. Celebrities need it bad. They'll do the prenatals all day.
yes, they will.
All those entertainer attorneys. Don't worry about
Entertainer attorneys. Okay.
Yes, the shade room. One day my DNA test was on the shade room.
Yeah.
I didn't know. My daughter told me. My daughter said, Mommy, your DNA test is on the shade room. You did a DNA test on blah, blah, blah. I said, what? I called the attorney up. Yo, I'm on the shade room. She said, watch me make it disappear in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boop, it disappeared off shade room.
What shade room?
Right, baby mom was mad.
Shade
I've
room,
done
it's an Instagram page of basically urban
Drama.
news. And if you go viral on there, like, yeah, and they only cover like celebrities or like ratchet stuff. They're like World Star Hip Hop, but for Instagram, pretty much.
Got it.
Yeah.
They're like the African American TMZ.
Yes. Yeah.
Any story, they got it. Trust
Yeah.
me, they got it. I've done all the celebrities that are in the state of Georgia. I've done where that baby mom was crazy. Try to subpoena me too. Go ahead, girl. Bye. You know, I'm not scared of you. And matter of fact, when I saw her, she had blonde hair. I had blonde hair. See, this turns blonde in about 2 more weeks. You got blonde hair. I got blonde hair. You got one of the richest baby daddies in probably in the United States. I went to his estate. I did his test. He offered me some liquor. I do regret I did not take the liquor. I forgot it or something. But you know, the key is there are entertainment attorneys.
Okay,
Okay. It's important. I would love to do this on a regular, and like how when Royal says to log in and we share things so that you guys can pick up, oh, that happened, that really happened, oh, this happened, oh, that really happened, oh, this happened. I not only, and when we dig down deep into it, it has nothing to do with DNA. How do I make extra money? Every time a single dad is a baby daddy, well, he doesn't have rights to his kids. Well, I help him fill out the paperwork for that. I charge $400 for it. They take and they file it in court.
okay.
Okay.
Will, to answer your question, Will, a buccal swab is swabbing the inside of the cheek. So technically, yes, it is moisture, but they're not spitting into a tube. It's just taking, where's my, hold on.
What she asked?
No, that's Will. He's asking a question. A buccal swab does not require any moisture in the mouth. Are you talking about concerning deceased cases, Will? Is that what you're saying? I mean, yeah, he's talking about for deceased. Yeah, because the person's deceased. So it's getting the cheek cells. So you're essentially scrubbing the inside of the cheek and getting those cells, and it has DNA on it. So whether you have moisture or not, you can still pull DNA from it. But that's why my mom was saying you get multiple samples from that person, hair from the root of the head, swabbing the inside of the ear, mouth, as well as nails as well. But Mom, well, look, we'll talk about it offline if you want to, Mom, and I'll say another quick story as well. But Mom, they're basically saying I would pay you to teach me this stuff about disease testing. Probably, I don't know how much y'all want to pay, but if y'all pay me X amount, you probably pay my mom a little bit higher to get that doggone 22 years of information. Mom, that's on you. We'll set that up.
Miss Jewel, I'm gonna put my number in the chat so that we can get together, okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey,
And yes, Adonis, and then yes, Rochelle, and there was another person. Somebody said California. Who's from California?
Will's in California for sure, and
What part?
Will is between Sacramento and
I'm in Northern California. I'm in Fairfield, California.
Fairfield.
It's about
Fairfield. Hey, you
it's
know we're
about
really
50
from
50
Cali,
miles
right?
north of San Francisco.
Okay, money. All right. We're from Lakeview Terrace. I am. I'm from Northridge,
San Fernando Valley area, LA County.
San Fernando. Yeah.
On the celebrity testing, Mama, I'm not gonna say the name, obviously, but just look at that, Mom. You got 3-4 people that want training, and God knows how much they want to pay you. But anyway, when I was, I had to been 18. I'm not gonna say the name of this person, Mom. I think one day you were like, "Hey, we're gonna go to North Atlanta, right? Just ride with me on this trip, Royal." I was like, "All right." I didn't care nothing about DNA testing at the time. I just like whatever. And I think you told me, "Hey, this person that we're gonna go do this test on is a famous person, and you'll notice when you get there." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. You know, whatever." My mom, you would tell me growing up, you would test famous people all the time. And I was like, "Whatever, all right, cool." And we get in the house, and it is indeed somebody that you would for sure know. And I was like, "Is that?" My mom was like, "Yes, it is. Just be cool. Like, don't say anything." And I witnessed my mom handle that celebrity high level test with just professionalism. Just that person is in a situation where they want answers just like any of your other callers, and you just handle it with the same amount of professionalism and confidentiality as you would with anybody else.
And yes,
that's
absolutely.
what I'm known in Atlanta for that.
And Royal, we did that test twice. We did the second child.
Oh, okay.
So I was over there personally by them. They didn't go through the attorney.
Okay.
I charged them the same amount. Celebrity money is way different than regular money.
Yes.
I charged one client $5,000 because I was doing a prenatal on top of doing 2 kids, $5,000.
You rock.
They paid it.
Damn.
They paid it though. Because I mean, they're paying for you're discreet anyway.
Yep.
But they're paying for your professional discreetness. And even when they baby mamas be trying to set you left, you got to go right. You got to look those baby mamas in the eye and be like, hey, how you doing? We're going to do X, Y. I brought in my own phlebotomist. I paid that phlebotomist $500. Now, let's go back to that one. That case that Rose talking about, they called me like a year later and they said, so how's Royal?
So they
Why
asked about me? Wow, that's cool.
The husband, he asked about you. And I said, oh, he was with me. This time I had a friend of mine, because I never go by myself sometimes. Now I do. So I said, he's doing fine. And I told him how you had graduated. And he goes, oh, that's a good young man. He knew he was the father of the babies, but they had to put things in writing. So I always know DNA testing is not always about who's the daddy. It's about getting things in order for all your legal documents, especially when you weren't married to the mom or things of that nature. You know, there's so many reasons why you have to do the DNA testing. When my clients are looking at me and someone mentioned the buckle while we're doing it for deceased. You ever done a buckle swab or swabbing the client, and then you put the envelope on top of the envelope? I already know what they're gonna say. So I go, it doesn't matter if these two envelopes touched each other because I extracted your DNA, it's on here forever, so it doesn't matter if they touch. I already say that all right away because I know they're gonna ask. 9 out of 10 times when that baby mama asks that, it's a 0 probability. But oh well, we'll talk about that another time. It's always a 0 probability when they start asking a billion questions. So
Ma, I got a question for you, Ma. I got a question for you, and this is my experience. Normally, in my experience, and maybe it might be different than yours, when somebody calls and says, I want a DNA test today, right now, like right now. What is the case? Is it, you know, do those folks usually book with you? Did they just get done arguing with their baby mama or baby daddy or something like that? Like, what is the case of the people who are like, I want it now? How much does it cost? Blah, 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 blah. What is the case in your situation?
Great question. When it's a female on the other line and she says, how much are you? Where you? When she's like that, they're arguing. 9 out of 10 is not going to happen that day. Probably would never happen. She's angry. She's playing mind games with him. He's in a corner somewhere, and she's just saying, see, I called the DNA company. Let's go ahead and do it. It's just really calling him. It's just really, I want to say, dude, she's playing with your mom, but then she hangs up. When a dude calls me and says, hey, I need a DNA test today, you best believe in 1 hour I'm in my office.
Yeah.
Not one kid, two. They tested all their kids. I like, how many kids you got? Well, I got 3. But 3 different baby mamas, that's another thing, you guys. If a man has 3 different baby mamas, he said he got 3 kids, other companies gonna tell him, oh, that'll be this times 3. Nah. He can't get all his kids all the time. But let's just say he does have them. Get all 3 of your kids. Don't bring none of your baby mamas. We don't even want them. I'm gonna test all your kids, but I'm gonna charge you, for example, $150 for each additional child. So what company you think they're gonna choose? If I'm $400 a case, if I'm $400 for the first case, and the other companies told him 400 times 3, that's $1,200. But if I'm 400 and I'm, let's say 200, and then 150, 175 for the third, he'd rather pay me that 6, he'd rather pay me that 775 than them that $1,200. And guess what? The lab only charges me $50 per additional case, per additional person. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
100% fact. That's a fact. No, that's literally what you just said. I had a case like that last year. Guy called, I want to test right now. All right, how many kids do you have? 6. All right.
yes,
It's just $100 for each child. Okay, I'll meet you. Where are we meeting at? I'll meet you at the back of a Walgreens, sir. Okay. And we had him lined up outside his van. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, mom calls. Yeah, it's mind game. It's facts. You're right. You're right.
yes, Adonis. Each time you do an additional child, the lab chart, you look at your lab additional fee. I triple that. Straight up. I'm
Yeah,
tripling
because
it.
I think any lab now charges $199 per additional person.
Right. Any lab has gotten crazy. I just had some stuff that any lab was doing and they're crazy. So when Roy was just talking about, so during COVID, how did we survive during COVID? How did I survive during COVID? Okay. COVID happened. I'm not trying to get COVID. I'm not trying to, y'all know if you have an office, right? Y'all know, here she come. Oh, don't get me started. Here she come. Now, most of my clients, they're of all races, by the way. So I don't look at race. And you would never hear me say, oh, this race, that race. But here comes this woman with her baby, with her other baby daddy, with her other baby, her boyfriend. The baby daddy's with his girlfriend. The girlfriend's got her other 2 kids and her, no. Don't be allowed in our office of the people that are testing. So I'm all nice to them. No, everyone can't come in the office. But how can we avoid that during the heat of COVID once they opened up back Atlanta? Like it was like in May. We lined them up at the FedEx. We did test in our office for almost 2 years. I lined them up at the FedEx. Go sit at the FedEx. Roll, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. We're here.
Okay. Go sit at the FedEx. I got them in their cars, the vehicles. I tested all my clients in their vehicles. I was still discreet. I only see my clients every hour of the hour so that they won't be like knowing each other. You know what I mean? But they'll drive from everywhere. Alabama, Tennessee, Carolina. They'll drive just so I can do their test, because there's really not a lot of people that do that. Any labs are not the type of lab that you can call in and get the testing done. Not all of them. Like some of them have the product where they can test and some of them don't. But I'll tell you what any lab does. Cold call these labs. Pretend like you're a distraught baby daddy. Adonis, pretend like you're a distraught baby mama. I'm telling you, they're not going to even, you're going to notice they sold you a knowledgeable test.
Mm-hmm.
They sold you a knowledgeable test. It doesn't, and you got to go to court. And you
So you
always
have to retest it. They have to be
Now-
retested.
So I educate my clients when they first call. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Miss Scott, how much is your testing? I said, well, there's 2 types. So I'm going to go over both and you make a decision, because I don't. They go, okay. But now I didn't do knowledgeables at first. I used to just send them the kits, but you know what? They rather pay me an extra 50, 60 bucks just to do it. So now I just do it. I charge maybe like to be honest, like $265. It doesn't matter. I'm only paying a lab like $100, 100. My fee is like $100. Remember, $100. So that's $165 in my pocket. I didn't really do anything. I didn't have no paperwork. Took me 10 minutes. 9, 10, 3. Okay.
I want to, and we're gonna close out in a second and then close up. I kind of want to brag on you for a second, and then also just talk about the flex that you did with DD, if you don't mind, the flex that you did with DDC not long ago, if you don't mind, like, yo, your price, what's the deal? So first off, like I said, my mom has been doing this for 22 years, so she's seen everything. She's seen everything, and maybe another time we'll talk about the test. We'll build up some suspense. The test where the baby mom was lying to the guy that she was actually pregnant, and she actually wasn't pregnant, and she faked an entire pregnancy, and it was insane. It was absolutely, it was just
fake the entire pregnancy.
Crazy. But we'll I'm gonna get Miss Jewel on again. But the flex, I'm gonna brag on you real quick, Mom.
Somebody said
for so long. Yeah, falls. Sad to say, it falls out of chair. My mom has been doing this for so long that she has a relationship with DDC, right? And she recently called me and was like, "Hey, bro, I don't, I'm not a fan of their pricing. You know what I mean? I can't even do this, yo. I tried it with Dustin. He was like, basically, you're not at that level yet." My mom called DDC and was like, "Hey, y'all charging too high. Lower your prices, or I'll go another lab." Immediately lowered. Boom. Oh.
Bing, done. Send it to me in PDF. Effective immediately.
Dustin was shook. He was like, "Oh, okay. I don't want to lose you because she's a high account." You know what I mean? So, hey.
Cassandra said, let me tell you what he said. Dustin said, "Is that a threat?" I went, "No, this is business, Dustin. Your prices are too damn high. Trying to pay you guys all this damn money.
Yep. Yep.
And then I get some. I said, listen, I've been with y'all too long. I can go to any, Matt, all the labs call me. I can take them right now.
Hey, look, hold on. Real quick, Ma. What's his name? Larry from Universal Forensics, y'all. That I'll tell y'all, begging my mom to get with Universal. Begging, please, because they know that will be a very fruitful business. I mean, you know, my mom, she chooses.
Oh, thank you, Rochelle.
Begging. But look, yeah, it's real. This is, yeah, she got some pull and some power over here. I'm not gonna lie, because he lowered their prices immediately. Go ahead.
And by good rate.
Yeah, good rate.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see them on $100 rate. Yeah. And then I went up on my rate.
Yep. There you go.
Because you know what? Like, I would say this and we're gonna end it. I'm way out 2 hours away from where I live. 2 hours, y'all. Get my car service. And this lady goes, oh my God. She works in this gas station. Top of the line guy. Miss, you're the lady that did my DNA testing. Miss Jewel. Now, mind you, I had a big curly afro wig. I'm like, wait, what? She still knew me. She took a selfie, click. She shared it on her Instagram. And I threw the deuces up to her. Same thing. I bake. So I'm about to wrap this up. I bake cakes as well. I'm called ugly cakes. And I get a request for ugly cakes the other day. He wants a dozen of assortment. He wants a banana pudding, some red velvet, Oreo, and whatever. And I said, listen, yo, you can't get this all the time. I have to have a big order. He pays $40 for it. I put his name in. I said, what's your name? He tells me his name. His name pops up in my phone with an email. There's only one way your name gonna pop up in my phone with an email. I did business with you, which meant I did a DNA test on you. Go into my DNA, boom, pull his name up, boom, 1999, I did his test. I meet him at the Quick Trip. How did you know about me? He said, well, I heard about your cakes. Now, mind you, he doesn't live in my area. He said, I heard about your cakes through a friend of mine. But now that I'm looking at you, ain't you the lady that did me and her baby? The DNA, I said, yes. He was still with the baby mama, and the little boy is now going on 4. Isn't that great? So
Nice.
always keep yourself humble, even on your social media. I tell stories all the time on my social media. I just don't break confidentiality, okay? Never. Like, you'll never hear who I done. One person said I could share. One person said I could share their story, and we'll share that next time. But I would love to make appearances, and I would love to help y'all out. I want y'all to be the best top DNA person there is. You don't even have to. Royals taught me so much. He knows I'm not techie. Rose is a numbers person. I'm an emotional person. Together, we would be like Earth, Wind, and Fire, or Rick James and somebody. We'd be like somebody. But together, we would collaborate to be something great, because he's numbers. I'm emotional, like, what? Okay, but I'm still professional. Okay, you guys can do it. You're in areas where the money is needed. People need DNA testing every day. Okay, and I want to thank y'all so much for taking the time with me. Thank you, Sherry. Thank y'all so much. And take my number. You have any questions? Thank you, Cassandra. Call Royal. Thank you, Nicole. We'll get back together.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
For sure.
I promise to be cute too next time. Thank you, Heart of Gold.
I have a question.
Go
Yes.
ahead.
Okay, my question is, when you were saying that, okay, you go to the funeral home and you charge, I want to say, I thought you said like $1,200 or $1,400. And then you said there's another fee that you charge, like the mother of the deceased father, the son. I'm confused. Like, how do you,
Okay.
what are you charging? I'm confused on the
Okay.
pricing.
So this is what I want you to do. Y'all got some homework to do. First, I charge $1,200 to help them get the blood, to help me help them get the blood spot card.
Okay.
No one knows how to do deceased in the state of Georgia. I'm telling you right now. I am really literally the only one that knows how to do it right. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you got those samples. If they can't get the dang benefits, what was the purpose? Right? So when you get the blood spot card, it's called a blood spot card. When if somebody dies of natural causes, guess what? You can't get a blood spot card because it wasn't investigated. You got to get that from the casket.
Okay.
Okay, at that time. I've got people, a lady cussed me out the other day because she wanted to test her husband's kids. And I said, well, where's he at? Was he's dead? Okay, well, how did he die? Natural causes. I said, well, we can't do that. So we could do a siblingship. These are grown kids. They're like in their 40s and 50s. Well, I want to test them with the uncle. Well, I'm not doing that. See, all money's not good money, and I'm not going to have somebody boss me around over my phone. I'm not going to do that. Don't you have kids from him? She says, yes, I do. And aren't they in their 20s? Yes. Well, you test them with them. That would determine if they're full siblings, if they're half siblings, I mean. But other than that, there's no money involved. Then the kids call me back and said, yes, it is. It's an estate. Well, if it's an estate and it's a will, you have the attorney call me. See, I cut that off through the chase. Talk to attorneys. I've turned down a few. Yeah, you have to turn down. Yes, you have to turn down these cases sometimes. But I always say, oh, there's an attorney involved. Have the attorney call me. Once the attorney call me and they break it down, then I can tell the attorney how it's supposed to be done. Because attorneys don't know, right? I don't know how to do attorney's job. They don't know how to do mine. But you have to look at it, okay? Attorneys have no clue how this is done. That's why they hire someone like you and me. Attorneys have no clue that you could get deceased tested. I had a judge literally hold up court for 2 hours. They had to look it up. And she get DNA from a dead person. They come back, okay, we're gonna go ahead and allow it. They were some old judges. Time for them to get off the bench. Actually, they're done off the bench, okay? But now your courthouses are filled with younger people, okay? And when you have a meeting with these attorneys, make sure they're full family law attorneys. Seriously. Deceased testing, I think we as a, oh my God, do you know how amazing we can be to start doing this state by state, from California to Florida and everything in between?
I don't mean to cut you off, Mom. One of our students, she's not on this call. She is a mortician. She is a mortician, and she knows multiple mortuaries in Florida where she's at. And I've been telling her, look, by the way, not you, Mom, who I'm talking to, if you tune into this, listen to what we're saying, because I've been telling you for months, like, yo, you can take over the deceased market in South Florida. Facts, 100% facts, based on what Miss Jewel is saying, right? And you're a mortician. You're not afraid of bodies, and you know what to do.
No, I'm not afraid of bodies anymore. And I got over that fear because you're helping someone out. You know what I mean? You're helping out kids. So when we next come back, I'll tell you how I almost got jumped by a whole family. Always be careful. Always have your backup. I'm in the hood. They tried to kill me for real. But I did help out a mother with 5 kids, okay? And the court knew it. Like, the court don't care. I would have been a dead Black woman. But I brought my backup. My backup was Charles. Remember that one? Really?
You always had to.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry. So if I go back to your question, is if a person died of natural causes, like, and they were older, and they were buried or cremated, and they weren't investigated, that meant we can now only do a grandparentage or a siblingship. You know what I mean? It's not legal, but a grandparentage, you could put a notary on the bottom of any thing, to be honest, if you want to know. But I will only put a notary on the bottom of a grandparentage if they say yes. This the only way that's the only way you can get it. The 22-year-old that was killed in a car accident, I felt that I don't know how they buried that kid without investigating that car accident. Okay? Car accident should be investigated, period. Right? So I charge $1,200. Start calling around. Make a note to yourself. Call all your labs that's in your area and pretend like you are a mom, you're pregnant, and your baby daddy just died. Oh, and call me back and tell me what they said. I already know they're gonna
I
say.
tell everybody with the other type of test. One last question, Ma. Because I'm sitting here learning too. If it had been investigated and either the GBI or the medical examiner has samples, like the guy's already buried, and they have samples on hand, like the blood spot card. How long does that blood spot? How long is it good for? Is it if it's a year? If it's a year later, is it too late? Is it what's
Okay. Okay. So I just did one today. I want y'all to Google Nationwide DNA Services right now, right? When you Google that, you're gonna see the last lady that just gave me a very good rating.
Yep, I saw
I
that.
helped her. She says it. I did a post-mortem test for her. Now let me explain what happened. Royal, give me a few seconds.
Sure.
She called me up, Miss Scott. We did a DNA test. I can tell this case because she wants me to share it. So I'm not breaking confidentiality on her case. Okay. Want y'all to know I'm able to share it. Okay. She says, Miss Scott, I need a DNA test. I got 2 kids. He signed that birth certificate, and we had a DNA test on my son when he was little. My daughter is 15. We need one for her. He didn't sign hers. Well, he has a heart attack and just dies, but he was only like 40 something. She said, so we want to do the grandparentage. This she later on tells me we did the grandparentage and it came back as an inconclusive. Have y'all had that happen yet? Inconclusive. What? I had one inconclusive test once. I said, what? They did it again. It came back as a inconclusive again. Well, what lab did you use? She said, any lab. I said, oh my God. On a grandparentage, why did you use any lab? I don't know, Miss Scott, but I said, you can't do that. I walk her through the procedure, how to do it, how we're gonna do it. We're gonna get his samples from the medical examiner. I found out where it was. She was all excited. His mom opened up the case. Okay. She says, Miss Scott, did I tell you that he was famous? I said, what? Now I'm pissed because the charge of $1,200 could have charged the more. Anyway, whole point is this. He's a famous dude. He's a director of some movies. He's a black dude. Died. How did he die? She said, well, there's another baby involved. Whoa. See, when you talk to your clients, they talk to you and they get to telling you stuff. That's why you talk to them. You don't want to sound like a machine all the time. She said, Miss Scott, his other baby mama, my kids are 16, whatever, but his other baby mama is pregnant. She doesn't want to do the test. Why? She got enough money. Why? She got enough money. Well, what did she do? She got enough money. She came home and caught him having sex with another woman. He had a heart attack and died in her face while she's 5 months pregnant. So now she wants to get rid of that baby. So I said, whoa. And then there's another baby. I said, why don't we just do all the doggone babies? Because we got this blood spot card. But when I went to the medical examiner, they said we have several of his samples. Then I created a relationship with the medical examiner of this different county. So today she got her report back. Go Google me. You can find her name. She wants me to share it. I got her a report that proves that he is the father. I'm making sure that she gets a sealed DNA report as well, not just PDF. When you do deceased case test, you need to make sure they get a sealed report from DDC as well, direct, so they can take it to the people. Now, I helped her out. The other baby mamas will call. I'm sure. So this is what I'm saying. You're gonna be doing people, you don't even know if these people are movie stars, directors of movies that you've seen, trust me, that just died. And you're not gonna see that he died on TMZ because he was a behind the scene writer and director. Okay, but he's worth millions.
Yeah. Hey, Mom,
Millions.
for the last question, Will asked, he asked me, and I'm like, I don't know. So he says, can you get a copy of the blood spot card with the HIPAA information removed? Which I do not know the answer to that question at all.
With the what information removed?
The HIPAA, the private medical information removed.
Oh, we don't, I mean, when we go and we get it, we're signing, when we sign for it, the HIPAA information is on there. So that's what your postmortem document is for.
Your approval for it, yeah, okay.
Your postmortem tells the lab, I am allowed to pick this up. The lab has to sign off. If you ever pull up a postmortem document roll, have they ever seen one of those?
It's in DDC's portal. Y'all can look it up. It's in DDC's portal under the form.
Okay. You look up a postmortem, that lab has to say, I'm the lab. Okay, I'm the medical examiner. My name is so-and-so. Not only did I package this, I also collected it.
Yeah.
Plus, when you go inside their office, you sign off. Okay. Then you got the letter from the next of kin. You have that document too, from the mother, the wife, the whoever the next of kin is. So you got 2 documents, and now you got the CO. So there's 3 documents, all in all. You won't be breaking HIPAA.
Yeah. Yeah, those forms, both of those forms are in DDC's portal, and you can download them. They're under the forms, and then it's under the postmortem section. So look, I gotta roll out because
Okay.
I got, Brittany's home, and I gotta, I spend time with the wifey, the lovely wife.
And
Y'all, thank
Did you
y'all.
tell me I thought it was 8:30 instead of?
Yeah, 8:30 a.m. Yeah, she thought it was 8:30 a.m., but no, I was still at work. I was at PT at the time. Y'all, appreciate y'all. Look, we're gonna have more of these because yeah, she literally has a wealth of information. If y'all want to get in contact with her, you see her email. If y'all want to pay her, feel free to pay her whatever you want for her knowledge. I say mine. We'll talk offline, but if y'all want to cash app her or something, feel free. Go.
I want to really help you guys do the deceased case. I want to really walk you through the steps. I know there's money in Florida. We know there's money in Orlando.
Oh,
We
it
know
100% is. Yeah.
in California, we already know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much. I'm gonna post this tomorrow. Donna said, Miss Jewel, drop the invoice. You ready to learn? Mama, I'm gonna talk to you real quick after this is over, real quick, Mom. And all right, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It's nice meeting you guys.